Hey everybody, this is Gaia Earth Goddess. I'm coming back with another video, and I just came on here to talk about my journey to not using soaps and deodorants. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about that. So I started out as a child like anybody else, using just soaps and things like that. But I grew up using Dove soap because I had eczema really bad. And so my mom had me on this regimen where she would bathe me with Dove soap because it had the moisturizers in it. And she would bathe me like every other day because my skin would dry out. So as I got into being a teenager and an adult, I started just continuously using Dove body wash, Dove soap, because that was what I grew up on. So going into my 20s, I was using just various types of different soaps. I was using, cheaper soaps. I wasn't really using like the same soap with the same type of quality as Dove soap. Anything that was cheaper, I would just, to me it was just soap with soap. So I was just bathing with anything. But as I began to walk in alignment more with nature, I switched the soaps that I was using and that my family was using to Castile soap. And if a lot of people don't realize or know, Castile soap is this liquid soap. They sell it at health food stores. They sell it at grocery stores. They sell it everywhere now, because back in the day they didn't sell it everywhere. They have it in liquid form. Most often you'll find it in liquid form, but they also have it in like the bar form, and it's supposed to be the most natural soap with natural oils and not a lot of dyes and chemicals in the soap. So I was using Castile soap because to me that was as natural as you were going to get. There was no other natural soap besides black soap, which has shea butter in it, and I think I used that a little bit for a little while too. So I was on this journey, spiritual journey, natural journey, using Castile soap. And I get in the shower one day, and I'm always getting downloads. Sometimes I get big downloads, sometimes I get like little blurbs. And I was getting into the shower, and I had just put the Castile soap, squeezed it on my sponge, and I'm bathing. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I love Castile soap. It's so natural, it's so good for my body. And I don't like using other soaps. I want to use something that's natural. And then I got this little download. And the download was like, it was more of a question. It was like, but is soap, using soap, natural? And I stopped and I started thinking to myself, is using soap natural? Because in nature, if you go out in nature right now, there is no plant or tree that's a soap tree. There aren't any plants or trees that produce soap. It's a man-made invention. There is a ginger plant that people talk about. They call it, I think, the ginger shampoo plant, that produces like a nectar or a juice that's foamy, and people use that to wash their hair, and sometimes to wash their bodies. But that's not really a soap. It's more of the plant's nectar, and it doesn't really have anything that cleans particularly. It's very foamy, and people use it for that reason. But I was thinking to myself, so if soap technically is not in accordance with nature, then why are we using soaps if we are supposed to be living within accordance with nature? Because we are nature, and we are incarnated God beings, and we come to this realm to exist and be a part and connect with nature. So I was like, well, let me research soap, because I had never taken the time out to like really research soap, and most people don't. So I started researching soap. Turns out soap wasn't used for the human body until the late 1800s, early 1900s. So I was like, okay, so what was soap used for prior then? Soap was invented prior then, but soap was largely, 90% of the time, in most industrialized countries, it was used for cleaning your house, cleaning your laundry, cleaning your furniture. So there were different varying types of soaps that were derived from natural products, but they were only used for cleaning. They were not used for cleaning your body. It was completely unheard of up until the late 1800s, early 1900s. It was completely unheard of to bathe with soap. And I realized that because I've watched documentaries where I've watched natives, people living in villages and living in grass huts, and they bathe with water. And if you watch movies set in like the 1600s, 1700s, I know we all have seen movies like that, but the scenes where they show people bathing, pay very close attention. They're not bathing with anything other than water. They're not using any soaps. They have very hot water, maybe add oils to the bath, but soaps is not in the bath. But if you watch old movies, they'll have a bar of soap next to the sink when they're washing dishes or washing things like that, or they'll be rubbing a bar of soap on clothing. And this is those old time, everybody's seen those old movies where people are doing that, because during that time period, people were not using soap for their bodies. So I was like, well, what was the switch? What made people switch to bathing with soap? So I'm looking it up, and I found out that these soap companies that made the soaps to clean with, to clean your house and your furniture, your car, not your car, but your clothing with, they had to have a monopoly on they were trying to make more money and get more revenue for their soaps. So they decided to remarket their soap, the same soap that people are using to wash clothes, the same soap people are using to clean their houses. They wanted to market that soap for people to bathe with. It was a perfect time to do it because I forget exactly what pandemic was around during the late 1800s, early 1900s. I'm sorry, I forget the name, but there was a pandemic coming around. So they were like, well, if you bathe with soap, then you'll be clean, then you won't get this particular illness, this disease that's going around as of right now. You guys can look up the illness that was going around back then. I have to try to remember. But so that was their whole campaign, like, hey, bathe with soap. If you bathe with soap, you're cleaner. If you're cleaner, you won't get sick and you won't get diseases and things like that. And that campaign worked and stuck, because to this day, people bathe with soap. That's one of the reasons why. So what they did was they started remarketing regular soaps as soaps for your body. And when they did that, they got this huge increase in sales, huge increase in demands for their soaps. Now, the soap companies at that time were sourcing natural materials to make the soaps. So the soaps were not as bad as they are now. They were actually sourcing natural materials. But everybody knows when you're sourcing a natural material, you have to process it and break it down in order to use it in whatever you're using it for. And that takes time and money. They started getting a huge demand to produce more soap because people started bathing with soap. So they turned from using naturally sourced materials to using chemically made materials, because the chemically made materials were easier for them to make and access and produce and start using it to make the soaps with. So it was this switch from natural stuff to chemically made things to go into the soaps. Okay, so that's when the soaps started getting really, really bad. The main ingredients in soaps to this day are still chemically processed. They still are, no matter how natural your brand of soap is. All soaps have like this baseline of ingredients that are chemically, derived, because that's what all the soap companies are using. That's what makes it soap. Now, they add all kinds of other extracts and natural things, and that's good, but it's the baseline product that it's made out of that's chemically, that's not good. And so I was looking up soaps and looking up videos about soaps and what soap does, because it does its job on the human body. It cleans you, but what it does is it does its job too well. So everyone has a biome layer, like this layer under, like if you were to take a microscope, look at your skin, you have little microorganisms, skin cells, everything. It's a layer of protection, a microscopic layer of protection on your skin, because you have to realize skin is an organ. It has to have a layer of protection. The rest of your organs that are inside of your body are actually covered in a layer of slippery mucus, and that mucus protects your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, all your organs from outside invaders. Let's just say, forbid you get something in your body that's a foreign thing, a foreign product, and it goes towards your liver. It's going to get stuck in the layer of mucus first and not get into the liver like that. So the skin cannot be covered in a layer of mucus because it's outside of your body. It would be slippery and sticky and wet. So what the skin has is its own version of that called the biome layer, which are these microscopic organisms and skin cells that are compiled as your protective barrier on your skin. What soap does is, soap works so well that it begins to strip that layer off. So let's just say you're bathing every single day. It's stripping that layer off every day because soap works too well. It's making you too clean. That squeaky clean feeling that you feel on your body when you get out of the bathtub, that's not good. That means your skin is just like naked with nothing there to combat anything. You can get illnesses, you can get all kinds of impurities going into your skin because the biome layer has been stripped off. This is the same reason why when you're in the bathtub and you're taking a bath and you get out, you see this big thick ring, and most people are like, oh, that's dirt, but it's not dirt. Because, and I noticed this when I used to use soap. When I used to use soap, I would have a ring around the tub every day, and most people have a ring around the tub every single day. But all we're doing is getting up and going to school and going to work. We are not going out and rolling in fields of soil. We are not soiling ourselves to the point where we have a thick ring every single day. The ring that is around your bathtub is not dirt. That is your skin. That is the first layer of your skin, this being sloughed off by this strong, chemically processed, chemically based soap that you're using. The soap is working too well and is stripping our bodies of our biome layer. It's causing, the chemicals themselves are cancerous and they soak into the skin and cause all kinds of problems. So when I found all this out, I realized that soap is not what we should be naturally bathing with. So I was like, fine, I'm no longer using soaps. And I found a small community of people on YouTube who also do not use soaps. And and they were talking about how, how you get out the bathtub and you're ashy. That goes away. Once you stop using soaps, that ashiness goes away because the reason why you're ashy is because you just stripped all the oils and nutrients out of your skin with the soap. So when you get out, you dry out and you're ashy. That ashiness goes away. I don't have that anymore. My eczema doesn't flare up anymore. I had eczema off and on my whole life. I am about to be 34. I spent the first 33 years of my life with eczema. My eczema does not flare up anymore. My eczema was linked to the soaps I was using. And that's what I'm saying. The soap is stripping us. It's taking away nutrients. In order for us to live back in accordance with nature, we have to strip ourselves of the things within this society that have been put on us, that we have been taught and manipulated into thinking that we need. We don't need soaps. It was a campaign by soap companies in order to get us to start using their soap that they made for household products on our skin. They were just trying to make more money, and they were using that campaign to make money off of us. That's how we started using soaps. It wasn't something